Hello, everyone. My name is Jania Thomas, and today we will be looking into how Cheetos are made, the science behind the cheese. But before we get it started, let's look into the history of Cheetos themselves. Before the merger of Frito Company and Herman Lay's Potato Chip Company, to form Frito-Lay in 1961, the birth of Cheetos can be attributed to Charles Elmore Dolan and the founder of the Frito Company. Though Dolan is responsible for the global success of the snack, he did not invent it. The signature shape of the Cheeto was invented in the 1930s at the Flecow Corporation in Wisconsin, known to be an animal feed industry. After feeding the animals, workers would clean the feed grinder by adding moist corn. This process puffed the corn into airy blobs. Curious by the byproduct of the grinder, employee Edward Wilson took these puffs home, seasoned them with cheese, and created corn curls, the first cheese puff snack. Klinkow later changed its name to Adams Corporation to focus on the booming snack market. However, Flakow would not receive the success of the snack. Although delicious, Although delicious, this creation was not suitable for mass production due to the cheese's tendency to not stick to the hot chips. However, in attempts to create a crunchy, cheesy Frito, it was Doolin who adapted and perfected the product. Doolin incorporated a military dehydrated cheese powder developed in 1943 by George Sanders, a USDA dairy scientist, onto the chips, thus creating Cheetos. Cheetos were officially launched in 1948, initially named Cheetos when they were released. So now that we know the history of Cheetos, how were Cheetos made? Similar to Fritos, Cheetos are made from a mixture of cornmeal and water, which forms a dough. Once formed, the dough is fed into an extruder, a machine that gives the Cheetos their unique shape. Once inside, the dough is subjected to high heat, typically 130 degrees Celsius, high pressure, and mechanical shear stress from the rotating skews. This process forces the cornstarch to it causes it to gelatinize. After going through the extruder, the Cheetos are fried in hot oil to reduce the moisture content to 5%, which set the crisp crunch structure and provides a long shelf life. After cooking, the Cheetos sit to cool. Once cooled, they are placed in a rotating tumbler. While in the tumbler, powdered cheese seasoning is added to evenly coat the chips. Once seasoned, the chips are transferred to a conveyor belt to cool again. After cooling, automated machines weigh, fill, and seal the bags, often using a nitrogen flush, modified atmosphere packaging to displace oxygen and further preserve freshness. After the packaging stage, the chips are then distributed. The process of making Cheetos is a demonstration of processing engineering, one of many different branches in food science. As one enjoys Cheetos, it's easy not to realize the amount of food science that goes into the product, ranging from food microbiology, food chemistry, sensory ingredients, and additives. These categories within food science encompass the entire process of making Cheetos. So, let's get into it. Starting with food microbiology and safety, the extrusion and drying process provides a high degree of microbiological safety for Cheetos. The high temperatures during extrusion effectively inactivates most pathogenic organisms and enzymes in the raw cornmeal. Additionally, the subsequent drying or frying step significantly reduces the final moisture content, resulting in a very low water activity. Water activity minimalizes the growth of almost all spoilage organisms and foodborne pathogens, ensuring an extended shelf life without the need for refrigeration. Now let's move on to ingredients, food chemistry, and sensory. The main ingredient in Cheetos, being cornmeal, is enriched with vitamins and minerals. The enrichment process adds back B vitamins and iron. In addition, the enrichment caused by food chemistry primarily develops due to lipids, such as vegetable oils. Another main ingredient in the chip and carbohydrates, which is the cornmeal. Furthermore, the high fat content in the vegetable oils contribute to the overall high caloric density and taste, while the starch structure dictates the puffiness in the chip. In addition to the density in the puff chip, it creates the customer's desired crunch in the initial bite, where the melt in your mouth sensation follows with the accompanied cheesy flavor. This potent flavor is enhanced by MSG to ensure the intense flavor profile. Lastly, the color and seasoning residue left on one's fingers after eating Cheetos is an expected part of the sensory experience for many consumers, as it is a direct result of the high load of fat soluble cheese and color powder. Now that we've gone over the history, how Cheetos are made, and the food science in Cheetos, what is the future of Cheetos? Sorry, I thought I did something wrong. Anyway, in an effort to meet specific demands for healthier Cheetos, Frito-Lay has recently introduced the new Simply Naked line, offering versions without artificial colors or flavors, as well as potent protein enhanced options. However, the company will still maintain the original product, as most consumers prefer the original Cheeto. In the late 2025 sales data, Cheetos cheese flavored snacks and Flamin' Hot Cheetos were listed as the top selling chip products on Amazon with the highest monthly sales, thus being the byproduct of their historical popularity and still remaining the top selling cheese puff brand in the US. Furthermore, the popularity of Cheetos is expected to increase in the future as the brand maintains its signature flavors while introducing additional variations. Thank you so much for listening to my talk about the science behind Cheetos. This was Jania Thomas, and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Goodbye.